Hello, thank you for joining us today. Welcome to the Joystick Frequency. It's a video game podcast that doubles as a video game book club, where you're a member just by listening in. I'm your normal host, Trent. Joining me are my two co-hosts, Walker.
Hello, I'm drinking tea.
And Brady.
Hello, I'm drinking coffee.
And I'm drinking the
Tears of your enemies.
Tears of the Kingdom? The true game of the year?
Blood of the Kingdom? True Game 5 out of the year?
Oof. We'll get to that later.
Wow.
Last time, we talked about what did win. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. Scratch that. Last time, we talked about Baldur's Gate 3. Now that it's getting closer to the end of the year, getting close to our Game of the Year episode, I thought it'd be a good idea to try and pick a few games from the year that we haven't talked about yet to try and see if they can qualify for our top 10 list. So this is officially titled the Game of the Year Last Chance Qualifier, even though there's no any sort of organization or form bracket style to it, like most things that you would call that. So either way, we're going to get into the nitty gritty of that. We're also going to talk about the Game Awards at some points. But for now, we're going to start with what we've been playing this month. Who would like to go first?
Sorry, I'm laughing at the at some point. So for those who are not in the loop, we have a little document here. The get to it at some point is over half of our document is Game Awards stuff. So we will get there. I can run first. I've played a couple of things. Mostly played the one game that I'll be talking about a little bit later here. But I did open up Baldur's Gate 3, advance one of the quest lines for about 30 minutes, and started a boss fight, and have not gone back. So, I'm scared to do so. 666 is a lot of health. I am excited to get back to that in the near future, but I also ran through, I talked last time a bit about the Outer Wilds DLC, Echoes of the Eye. I finished the main run through of that. Incredible. I'm so glad it was just more Outer Wilds, and that's not a bad thing for me by any means. It's only good. And then, really briefly, I touched on a new game that just launched not too long ago. I say I watched my partner play it. She went ahead and purchased a Highland Song, which is very cool, like climbing style platformer, where you are exploring the Scottish Highlands and getting really interesting story about family and place within all that. It's been really cool so far. We're not too deep in yet, but there's been a couple really cool climbing mechanics. Basically, you have to traverse a large span of the Highlands within 7 days, and it plays a lot with parallax. So as you're moving across the main foreground and climbing across the mountains, eventually when you find a path to proceed onward, your character walks over the horizon and the camera zooms to the next segment of mountains that you were actually seeing in the background as you were playing before. Very, very cool, very beautiful. I would recommend it, and I'm probably going to mess around with it more not too long from here.
You said parallax, and the first thought I had immediately was one of the dragons from Skyrim, but that's Parthenax.
Yes, mighty parallax.
All right, well, that sounds a little similar to the game I'll be talking about later as well. I'm excited to see any of the similarities, and if it's good enough, I might end up picking that one up as well. Brady, what have you been playing?
I have been playing a little bit of Outer Worlds. Not Outer Wilds, Outer Worlds.
You wrote Outer Wilds in the notes, and I got so excited.
I did. Yeah, I got them mixed up.
No.
There was a DLC that released for Outer Wilds, a couple of DLCs that have released since it came out, and I have not played since those DLCs came out, so I've been playing through those, which has been a lot of fun. Baldur's Gate 3 recently released an update that adds an honor mode, which is like a permadeath run type of thing, hardcore mode. I've been playing through that. I lost. I got all the way through the goblin camp, defeated the goblins, started going through the Underdark. Everything was fine until I got to the fight where you freed Nier and are trying to free all the slave deep gnomes.
Oh, yes.
You blow up in the rubble, and then if you don't immediately say you're evil, they attack you. And I was doing great. And then my tank got knocked into lava. And then it started going downhill from there.
Well, I'm actually at that part in Baldur's Gate currently, so that's fun. I just released the Deep Gnomes.
Yeah, and so if you lose, you just lose. So I am not playing Baldur's Gate 3 anymore. I just stopped. I didn't start a second playthrough after that. I will eventually beat it on Honor, but not today.
Did you end up going back with that update that they dropped the Honor mode for? They also released like an epilogue for the main campaign. I know you've beaten the game, right?
I have. I have not gone back. I should do that. I should go back and play that epilogue.
Well, I guess maybe we can finish the game next time and we can all talk about it. But
actually, I have a save file where I'm basically in the combat at the final boss that I didn't actually mechanically finish just because it ended up like I would do my turn and then wait 20 minutes for the rest of the combat to go off. Because even my brand new computer was having a little bit of it was chugging because of how much shit was going on. But I should go back and do that just to see the epilogue.
Yeah, I'm really curious on how they handle everything. I'm excited to see that they're still dropping consistent content for this incredible game.
And no DLCs either. It's just all just content and updates, which is, well, we'll get into that later. Side note, I am very excited for any DLC that they drop. I don't know if they're going to do it, but I would love to see some. And the other game I've been playing this month is Rogue Trader, which was announced at the Game Awards. It's another tactical game, kind of like BG3, but it's set in the Warhammer 40k universe, where you play as a rogue trader. And I have just started that, and it is incredibly complex. Building the character is like building a D&D character, but if you don't know how D&D works, so you're kind of just going blind.
Oh boy.
One of those games.
Are you at least able to respec or no?
I haven't gotten far enough to know.
Commit to it. Let's go.
I do feel like I committed to a sniper rifle operative playthrough, so I'm feeling okay with that right now, because I'm doing a lot of damage.
Heck yes.
That explains why that game wasn't on my list of things that came out for the Game Awards, because I didn't write down Warhammer 40k because I'm like, I have friends
Brady will
that
get
cover
it.
that. That's fine.
Brady will get it.
All right, well, I guess that leaves me.
Yeah.
What I've been playing this month, 2 party games and then 1 me game. The me game has been one of my favorite games of all time. Still in my top 10 to this day. After 10 years, it still holds up. BioShock Infinite. I remember playing this game whenever it first came out and just the ending blowing my mind, as well as just the story going through the world of the flying city of Columbia instead of Rapture was really good. That's something BioShock does really well. They've made 2 fantastic cities that are in places you wouldn't think they'd be. And it was just a really good fight. Now that I'm 10 years older, I understand it a lot more. I understand what's going on, how there are different realities going on towards the end of the game whenever you're opening these tears. Instead of me just going like, oh yeah, it's all just one consistent story, one consistent straight line. No, it's more like a branching tree.
I played Infinite when I was in college,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't understand. That was only a couple years ago. I didn't understand the fuck was going on, especially at the end. I remember enjoying the game and it being an absolute blast, but it started getting very reality splintering, so I would love to talk more about it.
Oh yeah. So I beat it on the medium difficulty just because I'm achievement grinding it with my friend Moses, who's played it for the first time, and that's why I started playing. I still have the hard playthrough, and then the 1999 mode, which I don't know exactly what the 1999 mode is, but there's also an achievement, and I want to do this in one where I don't have to replay that mode. There's also an achievement where I can't buy anything in the 1999 mode from the general store, so that'll probably break me at some point, so we'll see how that is. We're going to go with the lighthearted of the party game next that I've been playing. I've been playing a bunch of party animals with friends, and my god, it is so fun to have your furry little critters beating the shit out of your friends with a shovel. It's a lot of fun. I haven't played any of the team-based modes. I haven't played any of the modes other than just the regular Battle Royale. But I've been playing a little with, again, my friend Moses, and we've gotten my friend J-Man to download it. We're trying to get a couple more people. I've only had a group of 3 and then some bots in so far, so I'm hoping to get like a bigger party where we can all just go hog wild and stuff. It feels that same itch that Super Smash Brothers does and Gang Beast and games like that. So it's a lot of fun going around, and especially whenever you're on the broken ice map and your friends are in the water and you just keep shooting them with a taser until they freeze to a solid block of ice and are dead. It's great. And then the last one that I've played recently, just in this past week, and it is terrifying, has been, y'all probably heard about it at this point, Lethal Company. just as terrifying as you've probably heard about it. You're basically sent on the ship with however big your group is, and you land on a moon. You go into a bunker to find stuff to go sell to the company that you work for. And there are different sorts of monsters that can spawn in here. Some of them like hang on the ceilings and drop down on your head and completely engulf you and suffocate you unless someone hits you with a shovel once, and then it'll go away. Others are just like these giant beast monsters that just run around and just bite into you. And then there's one that's even called the Bracken that he's very finicky. He's very territorial. You walk into a spot, he's going to start like getting a little mad and he'll run at you. The only way to deter him is to look at him shortly, but if you look at him for too long, which is about 4 to 5 seconds, all of a sudden he's enraged and he charges immediately at you and snaps your neck. And dying to a Bracken is one of the most terrifying things in this game. Almost as much as the demon dogs that are outside of the bunker whenever it starts getting dark at night. That can sometimes get on the ship and are noise-based, so you have these walkie-talkies to communicate with your friends sometimes, and sometimes they'll start talking through the walkie-talkie and you have to turn it off immediately so that the dog doesn't rush at you and eat you. For how horrifying it is sometimes, it is a lot of fun to like just be playing with a group. You're traveling with someone, you see him just get his neck snapped by a Bracken, and you're just like, okay, I'm going the other way now, bye. And you just walk out with whatever stuff you have and just throw it on the ground, and you're like, I fucking hate this company. And if you don't fill the quota for the company, I mean, they eject you into space. So it's one of those like the working for Amazon meme kind of things, only brought into a game, brought into a space game. So it's a lot of fun.
I've seen some clips from Lethal Company. I know next to nothing about it, but I've seen a lot of very strange monsters and a lot of fucking around consistently with a ladder. I don't know how that plays into the actual gameplay, but it does make a satisfying thunk sound when it hits people.
The ladder, you can let it go to basically get across these gaps that normally you have to parkour around. I was actually playing this last night, and I'm really good at the parkour. I've not fallen on the parkour once until last night, where I fucked it up, and then the two people I was with also fucked it up. And so the other two people that are in the ship just watching the screen of what's going on are just dying laughing because all three of us fucked up a single jump. And they had to teleport our bodies back and get out of there before monsters killed the rest of them. Because if your whole party wipes, you lose everything that you've collected so far. Brady, you seen anything about Lethal Company yet?
I've heard the name.
This will be a game that hopefully I can maybe if we have a quote unquote Among Us night, everyone can get into on this and try.
It definitely sounds interesting. I'd be interested to play it with a group.
Oh, and normally it's a 4-player party, but they have a mod that you can have up to 40 people in a lobby, and getting anything more than 4 people is a little chaotic, but honestly a lot more fun because you get to start assigning people jobs and to start assigning squads. And you come back to the ship, like, your squad, like, yeah, we didn't run into anything. Everything's great. Squad B's completely wiped out. Oh.
I think with that, we're ready to jump into the games that we played this year that we didn't quite get to talk about yet.
Yeah.
But that still deserves some airtime.
Yeah.
If it's all right with everyone, I will go first.
Please do.
The game I would like to talk about is a Game of the Year nominee for 2023. Spider-Man 2 for PS4 by Insomniac Games.
I am so fucking jealous that you get to play this game. I don't have a PS5 yet. I want to play this game so fucking bad.
Sorry.
Spider-Man 2 is, as you can guess from the name, a sequel to the Spider-Man PS4 game that came out a few years ago by Insomniac. It also is a successor to the Spider-Man Miles Morales game. Came out as like a 1.5 half DLC, half sequel game. And if you enjoyed those games, you're going to enjoy this one. The basic gameplay loop is very similar. You swing around the city, do collectibles, complete quests, and save the day as Spider-Man. You get to play as both Peter Parker Spider-Man and Miles Morales Spider-Man.
Hell yeah.
Through the controls, you can transfer to either one at pretty much any time. It works kind of like GTA 5, where you press a button and you kind of just teleport across the city to whatever the other Spider-Man is doing. And each Spider-Man is a unique character, right? They have different abilities. Miles Morales has electric powers in addition to the normal Spider-Man powers, and Spider-Man has his spider arms. He has his Iron Spider for like Doc Ock looking spider arms that give you unique powers. In addition to the standard mechanics that you get in the Spider-Man games that you've already played, this game does introduce some new stuff. So on top of the regular lightning powers that Miles Morales has, he gets a new set of lightning powers that are like a light blue ghost variant. If you remember in the last game, Mr. Negative and Miles have a bit of a intense relationship in that Mr. Negative killed Miles' father. Spoilers for the original Spider-Man.
Oh no.
But that does come back in this, in that interacting with Mr. Negative in a prison break scene causes the color of Miles Morales' lightning to change, and you get like a new variety of lightning, like negative lightning, that's like a pale blue instead of an orange. And Miles has a whole arc about being conflicted about using the powers given to him by the man that killed his father, which is a very satisfying story arc.
Yeah, holy shit. I knew basically nothing going into this game except for the fact of like Peter's storyline stuff and two of the big bads in the game.
Yeah, if you know anything about this game, you know what Peter's storyline is going to be. Because he starts out with his spider arms, but he does eventually get venom powers, which are much more brutal and just so good. They're so satisfying and physical to use.
But it's fine, because Spider-Man doesn't murder people, right?
Spider-Man doesn't murder people, right?
Anyway...
Oh, God.
Oh, no. I'll say that. Spider-Man does not murder people.
Peter, my boy.
Oh, no.
But
Mary
there are also some other powers that I can't mention without mega spoilers. But there are other powers in the game.
Ooh.
Yeah, and that's the stuff. Something I forgot to mention earlier is that there's some really great movement mechanics in this game, and like in the open world. If you remember the old Spider-Man games, you get just like the one island. I am not from New York, so I'm not going to even try to guess which island it is. I think Brooklyn? No, not Brooklyn. It's not Brooklyn. It's Manhattan. Because you get to go to Brooklyn in this one. So you can go across the river, and you get like a whole new island to swing around.
Oh shit, so they've properly expanded the map.
They properly expanded the map, yes.
Oh, sick, okay. That was one of my major concerns, like, okay, you've done New York once and it's still New York again. I'm sure they'll change some of it, but that was, I mean, one of my qualms with Tears of the Kingdom was it was the same map, just updated.
Yeah, I mean, it is the same map. They do have new stuff in it, but it's the same map just with a new island. A little bit smaller than Manhattan, but not by much.
Honestly, with a superhero game, especially the one that's like the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is known for New York, it's really hard to like improve on a game that's going to have the same map like that. And like from what I've heard, they've done a great job on it. So
they did a great job because they also tweaked the ways you can like move around the map. So you have your standard web swinging, which isn't going to change because it's Spider-Man. They did make it faster, so you're zooming through the city pretty quick in this game. They also have something they introduced in Spider-Man Miles Morales, which is gliding. You can do like you have web wings and you're zooming, which is very fun. They introduce like air currents throughout the city, which they're like tunnels of wind that go through around buildings and across the river and stuff. And if you're gliding and you go into one of those, you like speed up and you don't lose altitude. It's not quite fast travel because you're not teleporting, but it is a very fast way to travel. So you can like catch an air current and then swing out of it when you get to your destination. It's very cool.
Oh, man. The movement in the first Spider-Man game was one of my favorite things about it.
Yeah.
The fact that you can glide now seems so fun.
Yeah. They also have giant slingshots, which are designated spots on the map.
Sorry, what?
Giant slingshots.
Holy shit.
You go to a spot on the map, and it is like a designated spot on the map. You can't do it anywhere. But they have like two like lampposts or two large solid objects where you put a web to each one and then you back up and make yourself a slingshot and just shoot so fast in a very specific direction. They have all those around the map for fast travel. And speaking of fast traveling, there is a fast travel mechanic in this game. I didn't use it very much because the movement is just so much fun. But the fast travel is incredible. Wherever you can set a custom cursor on the map, right?
Yeah.
Like anywhere you want. You just move your cursor there, highlight it, and set a custom location. When you fast travel, it takes you to wherever the cursor is, like your custom thing, and just has you swing in on a web and you're there.
Oh, shit.
It is one of the best fast travel systems I've seen in a video game, and I never used it.
That speaks fucking volumes to
Yeah,
the actual...
they aced the movement in this game. Speaking of like going around the city, they have the same activity. Well, not the same, but pretty much the same activities where you can go fight random crimes and fight the crimes of the bosses that are taking over the city at any given time. And as you're fighting those, I mentioned that Miles and Peter are both in the city, right, at the same time. And if you're playing as one, you can transfer to the other. You can run into the other one. Like, if you're fighting villains, sometimes, like, if you're Miles, you'll roll up to a fight and see that Peter is already there, and then you team up.
Yo, that's actually
to
so
fight.
fucking cool.
It's cool as hell, and it can happen with other characters, not just Peter and Miles.
Oh.
So, slight spoiler, Agent Venom does show up as an ally for a short period of time.
I don't... Agent Venom?
Yeah, it's like Venom, but a good guy.
Oh, okay.
Google Agent Venom. There's a very specific look that they have.
I swear if he doesn't have a fedora, I'm going to be upset.
No.
Oh, no, but he's got a fucking Glock.
Yeah, he has guns and, like, a combat belt and, like, shoulder pads and shit. Yeah, Agent Venom. He doesn't use guns. He just, like, the outfit.
Right, okay.
They have. But, yeah, that is... Yeah.
Yo, that's
I'm
sick.
okay with no fedora now.
Yuri, the police captain from the last game, is now a vigilante that shows up and helps you fight. She is actually tracking down a cult leader.
Oh.
And has her own, like, mini quest that you go with, which eventually you find out at the very end of the game. The cult leader is named Cletus Cassidy. Which is very fun. And he does run away from you and does take something with him that is very scary. If you know anything about Cletus Cassidy, the character.
Okay, I do know. Cool.
Because he runs away. You fight him as a human, and he runs away.
So you're saying there's a chance for more?
I'm saying that I expect to see him in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. Oh, yay.
But maybe
horrifying.
a different color. A slightly different color.
Yellow?
Reddish.
Oh, okay.
His hair is already red. I'm expecting more of him to turn red.
Yeah.
So those are like the mechanics of the game. I'm not going to go too much into the story because spoilers, but I will talk about some of the enemies that you fight because I kind of like the villains in this one better than I like the villains in the first one. Because Kraven the Hunter is my favorite Spider-Man villain of all time, and I cannot explain how much they do him justice in this game. He is my favorite villain of the game, and he is not the main villain of the game. He is the first villain of the game. He's just this giant Russian badass that he doesn't really have powers. He's just really buff.
And he likes hunting shit down.
And he bodies everybody he fights, except for one person. And he's fantastic. And he has this whole group of hunters that just go around murdering villains because he wants a challenge. And supervillains are the only way for him to get a challenge.
I think I heard that, like, isn't he, like, trying to talk, like, a couple villains, like, out of retirement or something just so he can hunt them or something like that?
I wouldn't say he is talking them out of retirement. I would say he is kidnapping them, throwing them into a Roman gladiator pit.
Oh, shit.
Fighting them shirtless.
Holy shit, what a
the
dude.
most dangerous game, I see.
Like, he literally kidnaps villains, tosses them in a gladiator pit, takes off his shirt, grabs a spear, and jumps in the gladiator pit with them. And one person walks out of that pit, and it's always Kraven.
Jesus.
That is what this guy is about. So, again, slight spoiler. He's trying to make it so he's the one that doesn't walk out, and nobody's able to do that for him. He's trying to die in battle because he has cancer, and nobody's strong enough to kill him. That's his whole arc, and it's fantastic. You also get to fight Venom, obviously. That's one of the biggest villains in the game, one of the biggest Spider-Man villains. And that whole arc is handled very well. It is the classic Venom story, but it is about as well executed as that story can be executed. I already mentioned Cletus Cassidy as a villain. Sandman does show up for a bit, which is an incredibly cinematic fight that you get to do.
Isn't that the opening sequence?
That is one of the opening sequences. You do also get like little mini collectible quests with mini Sandmen. But the big guy is the first one you fight. You also get a Mysterio side quest.
Let's
Ooh,
go.
Love Mysterio.
Which is sick. He is now a carnival guy. Like, he has a little carnival thing.
Fantastic.
Of course he does.
And it works not very well. And Lizard. You also get to fight Lizard, which is really fun. Lizard is
wasn't
scary
one, right?
in this game.
I was trying to think.
Lizard was not in one.
Who was the Sinister Six in one? It was Electro,
Vulture, Rhino,
Obviously, Ock, Mr. Negative, and...
Mr. Negative, Doc Ock, and Vulture.
I said Vulture. Who else?
You said Vulture already.
Oh, I said Vulture. And Scorpion.
Oh, okay. That's the one I get mixed up with the Lizard. Okay, cool.
You get a lot more Harry Osborn in this game.
Nice.
And you get a lot more Mary Jane. And you get a little house in the suburbs where Meg used to live.
Oh, yay.
And that isn't
What do you mean used to live?
Don't worry about it. You haven't played the first one.
You haven't played the original. Okay.
Oh, no.
Bad News Bears. Spoilers for Spider-Man 1.
Yeah, the visuals are incredible, especially for a lot of the big fight scenes. They did a really great job with the Venom goo stuff. It's a great time. I recommend playing the game, especially if you like the previous ones.
How does the game run?
I didn't run into any issues. I have heard other people talking about some bugs, but I didn't run into anything myself. I ran great on my PS5.
Okay.
I say 8 out of 10.
Hell yeah. I was going to ask how it ranks up in comparison to some of the other games you've played this year.
It might make my top 3.
Ooh.
Doesn't beat Baldur's Gate, doesn't beat Jedi Survivor, but I think it beats everything else.
Damn, alright.
Well, let's not hint too much into that. Instead, let's move on to Walker. What have you been playing?
Yeah, I've been playing a lovely game on the Switch called Chance of Sonar. I believe it's actually on most consoles currently. So I want to just open with kind of how the game itself opens. So stop me if you've heard this one before, because this scratches a very specific itch for me. You wake up in an area where there's no one else around. You begin to proceed through the world and are quickly confronted with strange runes lining the walls and different mechanisms. There's a lever in front of you with runes on either side and can be pushed up or down, and pushing it up allows some different waterways to close off and allow you passage through. This is a game entirely built around different languages and writing systems, and your main goal is to proceed through the world and attempt to decipher these languages for yourself with the help of, you have a little handy-dandy notebook, and begin to just try to reconnect the world that has been broken apart by its many different languages. This game is super, super cool. I believe the developers took a lot of inspiration from the Tower of Babel in like old mythology of this large tower in the middle of the desert, and one day the many people that are there have their languages split apart and can no longer understand one another. And it is your job to begin to decipher these languages and bring people back together. I'm not going to talk too much length about Chance of Sonar here, because I feel like much in the same vein as something like Tunic, and even more so like Outer Wilds, I would say. A lot of the joy in this game is the joy of discovery and deciphering. So I'm going to just talk about the first two major areas you encounter. After you wake up in this very like yellow sandstony environment, begin to move up and through. You get access to your notebook for the first time, and your character quickly jots down the symbols that he's seen. And if you want in this menu, you can actually hover over the individual symbols and hit a button, and it'll open up an in-game keyboard where you can actually fill out what you think the word might mean. So one of the first ones that you get is that lever that I spoke of, where it's down and up, but the runes that are on this lever mechanism represent both open and close, as it opens and closes the waterways that are in front of you, blocking your path. Proceed a little bit further into the world, and you will encounter your first other inhabitant, who seems very keen on helping you, but they speak to you, again, in this strange runic language that you may or may not understand at this point. There's a lot of really clever ways that the game goes about indicating what different words mean. I could even like fully trip you up in some occasions. So this first person opens up with one specific rune, and then you get 3 different lines of dialogue, and you only recognize the word open or close because that's the only words that you have deciphered up until this point. I love puzzle solving, if that's not clear in many of the games that I have talked about in the past, i.e. Outer Wilds, i.e. Tunic, i.e. literally any fucking puzzle game I come across. But the environment itself is really cool. It's a low poly game for the most part. Nothing's in too much crazy detail. Your main character is kind of this hooded blob of a being that can move around and interact with the world. And all of the other inhabitants that you interact with are also pretty low poly representations, but all have one thing or another that kind of indicate who they are. So the first person you interact with has this really intricate headdress in different shapes. You have like a half circle, you've got like a triangle. You come to find out, due to some reliefs that you pass in a wall on the way further up the tower, that these are some of the main inhabitants of the world. People who come and would like to climb higher in an attempt to worship the being at the top of the tower. It's cool. There's a really, really cool lore and history hidden underneath the surface that, as you begin to decipher the language of these first couple of people that you interact with, finally starts to like come to the surface a bit. You get to see that, oh, it's not just this one kind of person, this one language that's here. There's also this whole sect of people that are just the warriors who will act as like guards and defenders to this tower, but they don't know who these other people are who are trying to walk up and proceed up the tower. Their job is just to guard the thing, so they've closed the front doors and will not let anyone through. So naturally, as your main goal is to not only decipher but ascend this tower, you need to work through and find a way past. The game focuses mostly on different aspects of puzzle solving and piecing together these different languages by either interacting with people or finding statues, carvings, and other pieces of writing in the world. It's really hard to explain because a lot of it's just like sifting through the languages, referencing your different notes that you get. And I mean, when you hit different points where you finally like have the runes for all of like a random set of words, you will get an additional page in your journal that'll let you begin to make a guess as to what the word actually means. So for example, you have all the runes on the right side of the screen, and on the left you have this like open journal book where there are drawings representing certain things, whether that be open, closed, the type of people that you interact with, so like those warriors or the worshippers, whether they be like types of emotions or like indications of directions. It's really intricate and it's not as straightforward as it seems. Do y'all have any questions in the first place? Is this a game that y'all have even like heard of in passing?
I've heard about it on another podcast that I listened to a couple times, and until I like heard you talking about it and looked it up, it didn't click to me how this one might be a scary entrant all of a sudden, because Tunic won our game of the year last year, and this giving me an awful bit of Tunic vibes, at least in the gameplay aspects, with the having to figure out this language and referring back to your notes back and forth to solve these puzzles. And the art style on it is the only thing that might be throwing me a little bit. It's an unusual one. I don't think it will cause me not to play it or anything, but it's very weird. So I'm looking forward to... I'll probably end up playing this one, so I'm looking forward to it now.
I would really recommend it. It's pretty short. I mean, I went through with my partner. We completed it in just over 10 hours, and that was fully 100%ing it. It's really straightforward. There's a lot of really good themes about connectivity, and like if you express a willingness to bridge a gap that would normally distance people and keep them apart, the reward and togetherness that we could achieve offers quite a bit. I posted in our little group chat here one of the images. I was having a hard time describing the journal entries, but you can see that there's different like drawings on each page to showcase an emotion, and the little symbols that you can slot into place and try to start guessing what the different words mean.
So is the top one on the left page hiding and the bottom one's found?
Yeah, pretty much. And then
the second one's run?
Yeah.
Hey.
But trying to figure out exactly what those... there's different conditions that'll get these specific pages to appear. So you need to advance to a certain point by interacting with certain people or reading specific entries in books or carvings on the walls to even get this to pop up. And then you have to like roughly determine like, well, you know, this was the characters that people were using for like movement or hiding, so maybe we can do that and see if it works. This page actually kind of messed us up for a little bit, because one of the words is you play hide and seek with a kid for a little bit to try to teach you some of these words. And we thought Seek was this one on the right, so we didn't have this page completed for a while. So if you do not properly socket the correct runes into the right, like with the associated picture, nothing happens.
Okay, so it does it. It lets you make mistakes.
Exactly. So you can run with incorrect assumptions for a pretty long period of time and kind of like rough your way through it. But the point where you finally get to that like aha moment where everything is like, oh, obviously this means go. Slap that into place, and it starts like filling in. And once you properly slot every single thing, or like every single rune into its correct slot onto like a spread of pages that's here, they will lock in, turn white, and you have 100% confirmed what that word means. And that in itself can lead to different revelations about the world, like the actual names for the people, like what they refer to themselves as. My partner and I went with Worshipper on it, and, you know, that's not necessarily the case. They have a different name that they go by.
Do they allow you to brute force it and, like, just keep guessing at it, and, like, it'll confirm it? Or does it, like, is there certain conditions that have to be met to where, like, you can't just brute force it to guess at what the language is?
You can brute force. The time it would take to do so is pretty extensive. I feel like it spaces itself out in such a way where when you jot your little notes in, it makes it much harder to like move away from different assumptions. Like if you have locked one word, like the hide in this manner, into something else in your brain, you've locked it into like hide's a bad one. See, if you like seek, if you've plotted that as like run or find, it could like completely throw off your scent. But no, there is no like negative impact. There's no real loss condition in this game at any point, so you could just brute force your way through it. You do rob yourself of that little aha moment, though.
Yeah.
Well, definitely sounds like something I need to play. This is the first I'm hearing of it, but
it came out this year. It's pretty fresh.
September, I believe.
Yeah, it's a nice little 10-hour journey.
I do like quick little bite-sized games like that.
Yeah. Like I said, this one provides a lot of like you feel smart the whole way through every time you come across a conclusion or like make a connection of some kind, and all that kind of like culminates really well at the end. If you do, there's 2 different endings to the game, so if you work for the completion ending, I think it wraps things up very nicely.
Excellent. All right. Brady's already given his rating for his game. What would you say for Chance?
It's hard because I obviously don't want to rate it incredibly high in a year of so many other highs. I think purely because it is primarily puzzle focused and it only scratched that one portion of the brain rather than like not hurt by its size, but I was left wanting more. I think I'm going to put it probably around, we don't do half numbers, right? I'll do an 8. 8 feels happy.
We've done half numbers.
We absolutely do half numbers.
Okay, well, I'll do a 7.5 then. I think it was very solid. I wanted more at the end of it, and some of the controls were a little clunky. I feel like it would have worked better on PC, just for like the on-screen keyboard takes a little bit of time, but I think overall very solid. Doesn't overstay its welcome at any point. And yeah, it was a good like nightly ritual for a little while.
Yeah, and just to confirm, it is on every system except for the new gen Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5. So
oh, interesting.
It's on the old ones.
Well, cool. Would recommend.
So Trent, what is your game?
My name's called Joystick. It's French, and I'll go into the definition in a minute. But it's a puzzle platforming game, not unlike the one that Walker said that his partner had played. What was it? The Highland Tale or something?
Yeah, Highland Song.
Very similar. It's a puzzle platforming game by Don't Nod. They're the makers of Life is Strange, Vampire, and a new game that is coming out soon that we saw at the Game Awards, the Banishers Ghost of New Eden game. So after playing this game, makes me very excited to see what is in store for that one. Joystick is a French word for the ebbing of the tide, which is very fitting because the tide in this world has ebbed so much that there is no water on the planet, it seems. The rotation of this planet has locked itself to where the sun is constantly beaming down on it, And in doing so, it has dried all the water, and you play as a person that you come to later find out is called the Piper, who is set to bring the water back somehow. I have a little squishy buddy called a Ballast with you. He's like almost frog shaped without like any of the like detail lines for like legs and stuff like that. If that makes any sense. He's like a slime blob, but he sits like a frog kind of thing.
Okay.
I've seen some pictures of him. He is adorable.
Yeah, and so with the fact that all the water's gone, it makes this game feel like, especially because the game is to climb this giant tower that sails into the sky past the clouds, it almost feels like if the Earth were to have all its water dry out, like you're climbing from the bottom of the Marianas Trench up, essentially. That's how the layout of the land looks, with all these like small caves and crevices and dips in the land. It also helps that there's a whole bunch of boats and ships that have been destroyed because they're landlocked now. The water's completely gone away from under them. You begin this game by arriving at the tower and starting at the base of it, and you climb up using some of the climbing mechanics. Basically, you just use both your triggers to hold onto the wall, and you let go of one while holding on to the other to reach up and grab another ledge, and it's real simple. Just keep alternating triggers. You have a stamina bar that depletes, and certain things cost more stamina, as well as there's an exhaustion bar that goes over the stamina bar. That's if you're climbing for too long, the exhaustion bar basically it depletes the total stamina you can have until your next rest. So, because there is a rest function where you can just hang by one hand real quick and like shake out the fatigue like real climbers do. And so, like, that'll bring your stamina bar back to the cap that it can currently hit, but that exhaustion bar is constantly limiting that the longer you climb without a stop. So, you're sitting here climbing, and you have 4 pythons that you can stab into the wall at any point to kind of lock yourself to where you don't lose too much progress. They act as like miniature save points so that you don't just completely fall all the way down from a climb once you're almost to the goal. And with this, you can nail a python in and then lower yourself a little bit and then start swinging back and forth to like run up the wall a little bit and put a python somewhere else. So it makes it to where there's not just vertical climbing, there's also a lot of horizontal climbing in this game. And they did a real good job with the puzzles because there's no one path to actually climb this wall. Like, there's definitely a goal that you have to reach at some point, and they're like linear parts of it, but whenever you're overall doing the bulk of the climb to the next objective, there are various different paths that you can take. There's some that are like in caves that you find just like little places to like get up another 15 feet before you can find another set of wall, or you just climb on the outside of this giant tower. Essentially reach your first checkpoints by getting to this lighthouse, where you start to get a little bit of the story of what happened here in various diaries and just letters that you find about people. Get to these small civilizations that have been living on the side of this tower, various heights and distances away from each other. And so you get to this lighthouse, plug in this little seashell that you blow into with your ballast friend, and it essentially like just lights up the lighthouse with these runes and brings new life to the immediate area. Like, grasses start to grow, and the world becomes a little bit more colorful with whenever you activate one of these. We'll call them shrines because there are altars in this game that I'll get to at some point. Lighthouse is this first shrine, and there are 5 total that you have to get to in order to essentially bring back the water somehow. Another side story that you find in this game is at that lighthouse, you find a diary of a woman called Bianca, who started out in this small town down at the bottom, towards the bottom of the tower, and decided that there's an expedition that's going up the tower to try and figure out where the water went. And so you start with the first diary entry there, and how she's leaving her parents, she's leaving her family, she's leaving her whole life behind, taking this leap of chance to go with a bunch of other people on this expedition to climb up the wall and see if they can find the water. And so you keep climbing, and as you get further and further up, you're finding more and more journal entries of how she's feeling and the storyline that's going with her. There's a couple of instances where people fall. There's a couple of instances where they meet new people. They rest due to exhaustion. They're finding all these new intricate puzzles and items and artifacts kind of thing. How as they're going up, most of the people are coming down because they're trying to get to the water. You figure out that the water actually went away. Whenever it was going away, it was like getting lower and lower, so people were climbing down to get as close to the water as possible so that their civilizations could live. And as you finally get to the top, you reach a point where the expedition stopped. It's no longer Bianca's story anymore. You find the last diary entry of Bianca, and you realize the last trek, the last piece of the puzzle is you and your ballast. And so you continue climbing up even further than they went to the conclusion of the story, which really good. I've like some of the stories in this like felt real personal to me because I've had to grow up. I've had to go off on my own kind of things whenever I felt like it was the last thing I like could do. And so it felt just real personal to me as I was playing through this game and really enjoying it. The audio in this game is very meditative and very like nature based. You constantly get the sounds of the wind blowing against this tower and blowing in and out of the small caves and crevices. And there are these animals that have somehow lived without water. I guess they're like that they don't need it as much as everyone else. And like you find these animals that like just randomly spurt out of grass occasionally, or these little lizards that are just walking across, and whenever they see you, they immediately dart off to their hole. And so it's like the sound in this game is again really good because in its simplicity, because there's not really much. There's no dialogue. It's just the nature sounds that you're getting and the occasional blep that your ballast makes. As you're climbing the tower, the puzzles get really fun. The first couple worlds you start out with, you have your ballast let out an echo to activate these plants. That some plants are these little vines that will start climbing up or down the wall, and they have these handholds on them. And so you can either hit the echo, and then after the vine grows, you can climb the vine afterwards, or they have handholds on them, and you can get on the vine first, then hit the echo and travel wherever it goes while just holding on to the handholds with it. As well as these little bulb plants that whenever you activate the echo, anywhere that you see their roots going out, make just a bunch of handholds immediately spawn there. And so you use those to climb. Then you get to a level where it incorporates heavy sun in it, and heavy sun dries out the plants. Specifically the bud plants, so you have like a limited time to climb across those before it falls again. That's where you're really going to use your pythons to give you a checkpoint. A little later you get to a point where you have these rocks that seem to be moving on the walls, and then as you get closer you notice that they're bugs, and so you grab onto these bugs. And the best way to handle this is by alternating hands, because if you hold on to one bug, it'll keep going at the same pace it was for about 3 seconds before it stops and slows down to a crawl. And so since your grip is limited, you have to like get through this as quick as possible by moving from bug to bug. And so you have to sit there and alternate the speed of the bugs and maintain it so that you can climb up and reach the rest point. You get to a point where there's a bunch of wind, and it feels like, I wrote down tornado, but it's like just a heavy wind level where depending on how the wind's blowing depends on how it affects you. If the wind is blowing straight at you while you're hanging on the wall, it's going to tax your stamina a lot more than normal climbing. If it's blowing up, you can make these giant jumps and have the wind carry you a little bit more to grab on to something that is well out of reach normally. And there are some where you have to put a python in and then drop down and then go back and forth a lot. And then if you make a jump at the end of your swing on the rope, you can be carried a lot more to the horizontally by the wind. And so that section of puzzles was really interesting because the direction is not as apparent in that one as it is in a lot of the other ones. And then the final ascension is like really icy, and your echo is not as active. So you have to get a lot closer to things to have your echo activate them, as well as ice just makes it harder to climb. And so you're a lot faster in that portion because you just have to get up the wall quicker. The only other things I have are like the collectibles. And the collectibles do a really good job in environmental storytelling. Some of the collectibles are these little, first off, are altars that you just go and you spin them while letting out an echo, and it makes this entire room glow blue. And these altars have these depictions of these ballast creatures that you realize they may start out small like your companion, but you realize they become flying whale size. They become whale size, but they're flying creatures, which is kind of crazy. And so you sit here going through and keep finding these altars with all these different depictions and almost like caveman drawings of what's happened in the past. Find the letters. That's how you get a lot of your characters and story. Bianca journals. So you get to these like cairns where they're just a series of stacks of rocks, and you walk up to it and you put your rock on the top. And it's not very noticeable, but the further up you get, first off, the less of those you see, but also the slightly shorter they get, realizing that, okay, most people can't climb up to where I've climbed at this point, and so you put your rock at the top of the cairn, and that's a nice little collectible for it. And then the last collectible would be the seashells, and these seashells you pick up and you listen into them, and they take you back, and the camera changes to a couple of different things in the environment immediately around you, and how water was crucial and how it like flowed through this place back whenever water was here. Like for instance, there's one where you're in a series of caves and you're at sort of a canal. Like one door would raise while the other one lowered to let boats through, and you hear, whenever you listen to the seashell, they don't move, but you're staring at it, and you hear the raising of this door, and then the rush of water flow in, and then the lowering of it and the raising of the next one as a boat, and then you hear like a boat horn as the water rushes throughout and the other side to lead to the next one. And all of the seashells are like water sound based. They show how the civilizations utilized water whenever it was available. So yeah, as far as time, this is a very short game. It took me 6 hours to complete it, like 100%. It took me 5 hours to beat it straight out, and then another hour to go and grab the collectibles that I was missing. But then again, I wasn't missing a lot of collectibles either. I spent my time exploring the place, so you could probably get it done a lot quicker. And it's a nice, short game, and very, very aesthetic, very environmental, and a real joy, honestly. It's hard to find a game that is so simple that speaks to me this much. Like, obviously, I've told you all my favorite game is Sekiro, and that game's abundant in some intricacies. And this is like almost a direct opposite, and I feel like it is like just as like almost as good a game.
There is something fantastic in like just taking a single mechanic and refining it to its utmost point. I know for a fact that you're already a big fan of like climbing in general, so this really feels like a game that was built for you.
Yeah, especially because like I'm terrified of outdoor climbing, because like that's just an accident waiting to happen. I'm all for the indoor climbing, so this was a nice like way that I could get a little dose of that outdoor climbing without me having to go and risk my life to do it myself. So,
oh man, yeah. Ever since we saw its premiere, because it premiered at like the kind of half E3 event that we got this year, right?
I think so.
Oh,
I remember us talking about it for that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked genuinely really, really interesting. So it's on Game Pass, right?
Yes.
I'll probably be picking it up and playing it soon, especially if it comes at high recommendation.
Yeah, I love it. As far as rating goes, I would have liked it to be a little bit longer, possibly, but at the same time, you probably were running out of mechanics to add at that point. Like I said, it is beautiful in its simplicity, so I have to give this game like a 9 out of 10 for me. It is up there in my Game of the Year category currently, so we'll see where that goes out.
I think that's all the games that we wanted to talk about.
I believe so.
The next section of the podcast should be about the Game Awards. And to kick us off, I've come up with some trivia questions specifically about Game Awards.
Oh, shit.
Yay.
Don't worry, neither of you will be able to answer these questions, but they're all multiple choice.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
Except the last one, but hey. 5 questions. Whoever gets the most questions right wins the game.
Okay, how do you want us to give you the answers?
I want you to DM me your answers.
Fuck yes, okay. Give me a sec. Okay.
I will keep track of who is correct.
Alright. Everyone prepare for the ASMR tippy-tappy section as I write on my keyboard.
And there will be a timer on these questions.
Oh,
you get
shit.
30 seconds to answer the question. This is Tuned Into Trivia. Question number 1. The current Game Awards started in 2014, but the show was actually preceded by something called the Spike Game Awards that started all the way back in 2003. Can you name the first ever winner of the Game of the Year award from the Spike Game Awards? Was it A, GTA San Andreas? Was it B, Madden NFL 2004? Was it C, Knights of the Old Republic? Or was it D, Call of Duty?
Ooh, okay. Quick question for clarification. Are these all games that came out within that year, or is that something we have to determine? Are these all nominees?
A, GTA San Andreas.
Nice.
B, Madden NFL 2004. C, Knights of the Old Republic. D, Call of Duty.
Okay, I've set my answer. If it's... I don't want to say until after.
I have received answers from both of you.
If it's Call
Madden,
of Duty, I'm gonna flip my fucking lid.
Oh, no, I'm okay with Call of Duty because that's like back whenever they were slightly good. If it's Madden, I'm losing my shit.
Trent sent Knights of the Old Republic,
Okay.
which is not correct.
Should be. From my understanding, that's a really
Walker sent GTA San Andreas, which is correct.
Hey!
For the year 2004.
You're a
The
bastard!
2003 winner was Madden NFL.
Oh god, good thing you got fucking canceled, Spike Game Awards. Oh my god, no.
Fantastic.
Walker, maybe you should have let me win last time because then we wouldn't have this fucking shit.
Question number 2. The Spike Game Awards had a star-studded host list in their day. Which of the following stars did not host a Spike Game Awards show at some point?
Okay.
A, David Spade. B, Samuel L. Jackson. D, Neil Patrick Harris. Sorry, C, Neil Patrick Harris. And D, Ryan Reynolds.
Did you put him at D for Deadpool?
I can neither confirm nor deny. I'm realizing I just did bullet points and I should have put letters because I can't
That is not
keep
how
letters in order.
that name is spelled.
It's alright. Both of you selected D, Ryan Reynolds.
He wasn't popular
And
at
the
that
correct
point, right?
answer is D, Ryan Reynolds.
Yay!
Samuel L. Jackson hosted like 4 times.
Incredible. Spike's one of those weird channels where they just kind of did whatever they thought was like cool, but it was like
they were
1990s cool trying to stretch into the 2000s.
Yeah. One last question about the Spike Game Awards, then it's about the regular Game Awards.
All right.
Everybody knows, it's well known in society, how great gamers are around women and how well they interact with them.
Jeez, okay.
And award shows are no exceptions. Which of these woman-related categories was not featured in the Spike Game Awards at some point? Was it A, Best Performance by a Human Female? B,
Jesus.
Cyber Vixen of the Year?
Oh, Lord.
C, Big Name in the Game Female? Or D, Best Female Lead?
Which one was not?
Which one was not featured in the Spike Game Awards as a category?
Go with that.
All right. Trent said D, Best Female Lead. Walker said A, Best Performance by a Human Female. The correct answer was D. There is no category for Best Female Lead.
God,
There is a Best Female Performance, but not a Best Female Lead.
I was like, there's no way Brady was clever enough to come up with the Cyber Vixen or the best name in the game.
Yeah.
Fucking Cyber Vixen. Oh,
That
Lord.
one was a multi-year category.
Oh, great.
As opposed to the years where a non-human female won that one.
Yeah. All right. In the actual Game Awards show, 2014 to 2023, Sony Interactive Entertainment has received more nominations for Game of the Year than any other publisher. How many times have they been nominated? A, 15. B, 12. C, 5. Or D, 9.
Well, fuck. I guess I can't ask that. Well,
Repeat the question real fast.
In the Game Awards show, the official one from 2014 to 2023, the publisher Sony Interactive Entertainment has received more nominations for Game of the Year than any other publisher. How many times have they been nominated? Or how many times has a game they published been nominated for Game of the Year? 15, 12, 5, or 9.
I'm not super confident in that.
well, it's only been around for 9 years, so.
Trent said 12. Walker said 9. The correct answer was 12.
Hey,
Yeah! Multiple nominations a year.
Yeah, I figured that was the case, but I was like, there's no way they've gotten it like almost every year.
I'm actually going to pull something up real quick to give you a little bit of extra context. Because I typed these out on my phone, but I should give you a little bit of... Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Out of all 10 of the Game of the Year recipients for the actual Game Awards show, how many are not part of a previously existing franchise? And this is not multiple choice. There are only 10 options.
Okay.
How many of the Game Award winners were not part of a previously existing franchise?
Oh, shit. Okay, so.
Not necessarily standing alone, because they could have sequels, but when they were released, they were not.
Yeah, so for instance, Baldur's Gate 3 won yesterday, and that's a series, so
that is a series that would not count.
And you said there are 10, not 9? Okay.
10. 2014 to 2023. Okay. 10 seconds.
I don't like that answer.
Okay. The correct answer from Trent.
Holy shit, well done.
No, sorry. I worded that bad. Trent's guess for correct answer is 2. Walker's guess for correct answer is 5. This point is going to go to Walker.
No shot.
Because the correct answer was 4.
4? Okay.
Okay.
I was leaning 4, but I was like, too many sequels.
Overwatch, Sekiro, It Takes Two, and Elden Ring.
Dude, I could have gotten more than that off of fucking Elden Ring and Sekiro. God damn it.
Dang.
All right, and that is our trivia game. Congratulations, Trent.
Hey.
Wait,
2-1.
2
Damn.
But I got 3.
You got 2.
And I got
I got
2.
Ryan Reynolds, best female lead in 12.
You got 3-1. 3-2 because you both got
Ryan Reynolds, so you didn't
Ryan
count it.
Reynolds.
Okay, that makes sense.
I didn't count it.
But he got the first question, and then he got that one. Isn't it 3-3?
No, he got the first question wrong.
Oh,
He got Ryan Reynolds, and he got that one.
Yeah,
you
sorry,
got Ryan
it was
Reynolds,
bad.
best female lead, 12 in that one.
Yeah, GTA was from the next year, which is the exact question that I asked when clarification.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't answer it.
No.
All right. Well, it looks like I'm back to making the trivia next week.
Yep.
Woo!
Back to forgetting about trivia next week.
What do you mean? You forgot about it until 2 days ago whenever I sent you that message.
Yeah, exactly. And then I spent 20 minutes looking at questions and then forgot about it again.
Nice.
All right. Now, let's briefly talk about the Game Awards.
Briefly.
Look, I don't think we understand what the definition of brief is. I'm actually going to go ahead and pop that into chat real quick.
Definition of brief. I will read it out in my best Wikipedia voice.
Of short duration.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's not a long definition.
I'll say 1, 2.
But I think we should start with some of the things that stood out to us. Maybe not like the actual words, but like the trailers and fun moments. Let's each pick two things we want to talk about.
I'm going for 3, so.
I'll talk about 2.
I'll talk about whatever's left over.
Because I'm hungry. Trent, you go first.
Oh, you said me?
Yeah, you have 3 things.
We got a new trailer for the reboot of the Prince of Persia. This one being the Lost Crown. It looks very, very fun. I can't wait to play another Prince of Persia game. That's a series that I really enjoyed, that I've been hoping that they'd bring back. It may not be the Sands of Time remake that I was looking forward to, but it looks like a fresh new spin on it, especially with a different art style and a different-ish aesthetic they're going for. So I'm very excited for it.
I'm incredibly excited because we got a trailer for the new God of War Ragnarok DLC.
Yeah, holy shit.
And it's going to be a free one. And it's coming out, well, at the time of recording, like this week. It's coming up soon. I might have to re-download to play. We got a Greek Cyclops, maybe, and a bunch of new armors and enemies. I'm hella hyped.
It looks almost roguelike as well.
It does look almost roguelike. Like it's a roguelike... I don't know. I'm not sure what it's going to be. It looks like a mini game mode, like not like a story DLC, just like something to throw your face at after you've beat the game almost.
What a cool fucking thing for Santa Monica to do. It's like, we made a fucking bomb-ass game last year. Oh, y'all want something else? Sure, here you go. For free. God, I'm really hyped about that. I hope that's something more developers start doing. We've seen it now with both Baldur's Gate and God of War.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to start off not with a trailer, but with a funny moment, because it was a hell of a way to kick off the Game Awards. And sticking with the God of War train, Kratos himself, Christopher Judge, came back out on stage to introduce the award for Best Performance after last year giving an exceptionally long, I say exceptionally long, it was like an 8-minute acceptance speech where they tried to play him off stage a couple of times, but... This year, he walks out on stage and immediately cracks a joke about how his speech from last year was longer than this year's Call of Duty campaign, which fucking hell. And then
incredible.
And then he proceeds to give the award for Best Performance to Neil Newborn, which I thought was very sweet. What a good boy.
Honestly, deserved.
Who gave the award to Christopher Judge last year? Do we remember? Is it always the person who won the year before?
Was it Al Pacino?
Oh, I think it was.
I don't know why that's burning my brain, but it is. Alright, Hot Potatoes back over to Trent. Go.
Oh, that's right. Brady did go. Okay, number 2. A game that I saw a trailer that wasn't even in English for a couple years ago, and I've been steadily waiting for this game. Black Myth Wukong. Dude, this looks so good. It looks like a Dark Souls game, so right up my alley. It deals with fucking mythology, right up my alley. It deals with Wukong, right up my alley. Like, I am so fucking hyped for this, and it looks fantastic. They added a whole lot more gameplay and stuff to this current trailer that they released, and I'm looking forward to it coming out and probably being something that encapsulates me for an entire month. So,
agreed. I cannot wait to play that game. I've been watching trailers of it for feels like almost like 5 years. They've been talking about it, but ready.
My question is, what if it's Souls-like?
Then it's a shame that I won't get to play it.
Damn.
That will be the best video I watch on YouTube that year.
Yeah. Cool. Another thing I want to talk about is another DLC trailer for this one is Final Fantasy 16. We're getting Leviathan, boys.
Yeah, I don't know what that means, but I'm happy for you.
It's the water god of all the Final Fantasy games.
Okay,
It wasn't included in 16, but now it is. Maybe, probably, likely. Honestly, solid game. Looking forward to another great boss fight and another great soundtrack. Hopefully.
Fingers crossed. I think my next big exciting thing was something I was not expecting even the slightest. The devs from Untitled Goose Game went ahead and showed off their next venture, which is going to be a game called Big Walk, where for whatever reason, some exceptionally low poly, like 3 spheres stacked on top of each other like fucking snowmen, character models peruse a giant high fidelity environment and fuck around with some really weird stuff. It looks like it's going to be just a ridiculous multiplayer game to get on, get everyone a little tipsy, and just, like, have at it.
The character model for that reminds me so much of the freaking meme of the freaking... I can't remember what kind of bird it is. It might just be a penguin, but it's like, I'd never seen more bullshit in my life. Bird.
Yes.
So right.
Yes, that penguin, yes.
All right, hot potato, Trent, go.
All right, the last one is another game. Guys, you may know that I like Dishonored and I like Prey and, anything Arcane made. So whenever I saw that Arcane is doing the next Blade game, I got giddy. I'm very excited, especially because, I know very little about Blade, and that, he's always been one of the characters that I've wanted to, dive into a little bit more, and to be able to do so in an Arcane game... like I said, they haven't made a game I haven't liked yet, so I'm very excited to just fucking get on and play that and finally figure out what the thing to do about Blade the Daywalker is. So that'll be a lot of fun.
I didn't realize I was, but I am looking forward to the new Fallout TV show coming out on Amazon Prime soon. They showed some footage from that at the Game Awards, and it looks visually very faithful to the aesthetic of Fallout, and I've heard some good things from the devs, so looks like it could be something interesting.
We'll cross our fingers and see. It's kind of a hit or miss when it comes to adaptations.
Yeah.
Lately, so, we had the absolutely...
I'm not hopeful, but I'm anticipating.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
It is Amazon. Amazon has done pretty well, so...
That's
with their
true.
TV shows. They've done Legend of Vox Machina, Invincible... So
yeah, that's true. But they also did Rings of Power, so.
But they did The Boys, so it's
but
weird.
They did do The Boys.
It balances. I hope this one's a win.
They weren't the ones that did Halo, were they? No, that was Apple.
No,
right?
yeah, that was.
Okay. As long as it wasn't the people that did Halo.
I think I'll go ahead and talk about this one. We got a trailer from a new. Or rather, from the developers of Ori and the Blind Forest, called Rest for the Wicked. It looks to be kind of, castles and knights and kings, but also pirates, and a very cool, creepy art style. It was kind of checking every single box for me. It's like, okay, fantasy, yeah. Pirate, yeah. Really cool art style, yeah. Creepy little monster things, absolutely. They get even creepier, hell yeah. So I am very curious to check out this Rest for the Wicked whenever it releases.
Dope.
hell yeah. And last thing, just shouting out the Suicide Squad trailer because it looks like a hell of fun.
Oh.
Especially with it being postponed from last year to this, or from this year to next year. Very excited for that.
I was gonna say it looks like garbage.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from the things I've heard of development, I've heard that they're leaning towards games as a service model. That may not be accurate information anymore, but I generally, if a game is also a service, the quality drops a lot, in my opinion. I also heard that their single player game, you have to be connected. There's no offline single player. You have to be. I don't know. I think there is still a single player mode, but it's just you have to be connected to the internet, which is kind of iffy. And of the stuff I've seen from this game, I will say the trailers look dope, but all this stuff I've seen that isn't like a CGI trailer has me very nervous. I'm really hoping it's good, but it looks like it's going to be another Gotham Knights.
The Rocksteady Batman games at least have been really good. So
I know.
So let's hope
I'm hoping so
they've been
much.
working on this one for a while. So
I have never wanted to be wrong more in my life.
all right. And lastly, the thing that we're going to talk about is just a couple of the winners of the Game Awards, or at least a couple of the ones of notes that I put here. Feel free to mention any that y'all don't see on here. First off, I want to talk about Esports Player of the Year. Faker winning is so deserved. Faker has been playing League of Legends for a decade now. Has attended 7 of 10 World Championships since he's been a player. Actually, I think it's 8 as of this year now. He also got subbed out because of an injury halfway in the split. The team immediately tanked and were like on threat of not making playoffs. He comes back, locks playoffs for them, and then they go to get second place in the entire split. Then they come back this Worlds and they dumpster the entire fucking Chinese region, beating every single one of them. I think they only dropped 1 game once it got to knockout stage. No, 2 games. So they came back and dumpstered all of them to win him his 4th title, and just they posted a picture of his trophy case a few weeks ago, and he's just sitting on a throne with what looks like a crowd of trophies around him. Like, it's insane. This guy is so nuts. Completely deserves Esport Player from the Year because he brought his team from the brink of not even being relevant to winning another championship.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really particularly care too much about, like, esports in general. It's not something I crazy follow, but genuinely impressive what this guy has done.
Yeah. He is the Michael Jordan of esports.
From what I can tell currently.
As far as awards go, I'd just like to shout out Final Fantasy 16 for the best score in music. Deserved.
Robbed. You robbed Tears of the Kingdom. How dare you?
Look, Tears of the Kingdom had a chance to win when Breath of the Wild came out.
Oh, don't say that. Come on, man. I know it wasn't your game, but I liked it.
Hey, look,
it's a fantastic game.
Look, they may be arguing about score and music here, but the real thing that matters is the audio design here, and Hi-Fi Rush fucking took it because holy shit, that game, literally the entirety of the environment is going along to the beat and doing different animations. That is fucking crazy to do in a video game, and it is fantastic.
Yeah, I was happy to see Hi-Fi Rush get some love there, especially
I think
for...
they deserve that.
Yeah. An entire game built around.
Also, if we're talking about things that are deserved, Baldur's Gate 3 winning community support.
Of course.
For sure.
Hell yeah, they shaved the cat. That's worth the award in of itself.
I don't know what the shape the cat meme is.
Oh, you don't? Okay, well, not to explain a joke, but basically in one of the patches, apparently one of the cats that you find, it's the one in the last light end, right? His Majesty. Yeah. So they unintentionally, when they released the game, released him as a hairless cat and called him Your Majesty. So in one of the patches, they're like, "Oh, okay, well, let's fix it. Let's give him back his majestic coat, like for his namesake." But the community was just like, "Hey, come on, man! It was funnier when it was a hairless cat called Your Majesty. That's awesome." So they made a patch pretty much specifically just to shave the cat again.
Yeah, amazing. We've already been over the fact that Kratos himself gave Neil Newborn best performance. How about Walker? I believe that you actually get to totes your favorite game on here a bit for the action adventure category. Yeah.
Yay! Yeah, it was good to see Tears of the Kingdom get some love this time around. I feel like action adventure is kind of the best award it could have snuck in for. Like I said, I've had an absolute blast playing like Tears of the Kingdom this year. It was a genuine highlight of my early 2023. So I think well deserves like action adventure game. I don't see what else it could have even snagged in a year that was absolutely swept by BG's 3.
Trent, you mentioned wanting to talk about ongoing.
Oh yeah. So Cyberpunk 2077 has had a No Man's Sky level of turnaround in the support that it's gotten, and with the release of Phantom Liberty this year, I heard that like Phantom Liberty is almost like a whole side game that makes Cyberpunk 77 even more worth the investment already. Like the game is absolutely a blast now, and has most of the fixes on it done with the release of the 2.0 version, and it is one I'm very looking forward to. This is on my list to play next year. I will not be at the end of the year without playing Cyberpunk 2077. So,
and last, certainly not least.
Oh, most definitely.
Well, you forgot that one.
Nobody gives a shit about Anticipated.
I give a shit. Fucking Hades 2
Okay.
was robbed. The fuck? I get the hype for Final Fantasy VII.
One of the most popular video games of all time being remade.
Yeah, exactly.
Being remade well, and then having a second part to the remake.
Yeah.
That covers the next next 1/3 of the story because they're doing a third one.
Criminy. Because I think, am I misremembering that it also got most anticipated whenever the first one was about to come out?
I think so.
Probably.
Why? I get it. Like, the love for Final Fantasy VII. I think remakes need to, like, get a new category entirely and just, like, have their own, like, the Remake Game Awards.
Yeah.
And then real Game Awards.
We were actually talking about this.
As long as it's remakes and not remasters.
Yeah, we were talking about this, actually. The only unfortunate thing is not enough remakes really come out in the year for that category to, like, populate enough with good enough ones. So, like, it would have to be, like, a multi-year thing, almost.
Yeah, but Final Fantasy VII Rebirth did win most anticipated.
That's okay. Hades 2 is going to beat it next year for Game of the Year, so.
I hope so.
I don't know that Hades 2 is going to win Game of the Year next year.
No, it probably will not, but...
What's going to beat it?
I don't know what games are coming out next year, so I can't say that real quick. 1 second. Paper Mario, maybe. Final Fantasy VII. Dragon's Dogma 2. I don't think that's going to win Game of the Year, but I'm hype about it. Okay, maybe not. Maybe it will win Game of the Year.
We don't have a release date for it.
I'm calling it now. This is when I'm staking my claim on it. Remember this day, 12/10/2023. Go ahead, Brady.
Speaking of Game of the Year, for 2023, this year's Game Awards winner for Game of the Year was Baldur's Gate 3.
Down by the river. Of course.
To absolutely nobody's surprise.
No one. Well, we were watching the Game Awards together, myself, my partner, and Trent, and we literally just, like, quoted the words coming out of his mouth as they were about to announce the winner. Because of course it was Baldur's Gate 3. I don't think anything else has had, like, gone from having next to no build-up, launching, and having the outstanding success that it has had, quite like Baldur's Gate 3 has.
Not to mention its secret stealth launch on the Xbox the night after.
Hell yeah.
Fantastic. Can't agree more. I got nothing more to say than they had to. They had to.
Yeah, well deserved. We've talked ad nauseum about Baldur's Gate 3.
We had a whole episode about it.
Did a whole episode. We're probably going to do another whole fucking episode about it again when we get to our Game Awards. Our Game Awards.
Yeah.
I mean, any closing thoughts, any major things that we missed talking about that y'all are either interested in or were discussed during the Game Awards?
Just next year will be the 10th anniversary of the Game Awards, so that'll be pretty interesting. They're planning a whole fucking crazy celebration for that. So I think the Game Awards will probably be bigger next year than they have been, at least, and then they'll probably die down again to the level that they have been for the last couple of years until the next milestone.
I mean, we're at an interesting point right now where E3 came out recently as being officially dead. So, we won't be having, a big summer game release system unless everyone's doing, still going to do press conferences without the E3 banner. So, it might just take the spot of where most of the stuff gets announced at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I'm taking back my Hades 2 winning Game of the Year because I forgot one thing. Unless it drops in the next
How did you forget?
21 days, Hollow Knight Silk Song, that's going to win fucking Game of the Year next year.
So you shouldn't have said anything because now you've cursed it to not be announced until the end of next year that it's coming out in 3 years.
That is coming out in 3 years. We are set to release in the first half of 2023. Hey guys, we're no longer releasing the first half of 2023. Okay, when you go in 2027. What?
Look, man, it's a team of 2 people, right?
I don't think so.
Oh, had they grown? I know the first Hollow Knight was, when it was created, was only 2, I believe, Team Cherry.
Hollow Knight being developed by Hollow Knight was 3 people.
3 people, my apologies.
Is Team Cherry still 3 people is the name of this article? Yeah, I'm not sure, so.
Regardless, it's...
Small team.
We'll see it. We'll see it when we see it. I hope sooner rather than later, but for your sake, Homeboy's been dying.
I'm at the point where it's memeable. memeable that it hasn't been like we haven't even heard anything since they announced that it wasn't coming in the first half, and I'm just foaming at the mouth.
Yeah, Game Awards this year overall, I thought it was entertaining. I think I might be just getting old because I was so exhausted by the end of it.
And I mean, you're usually laying in bed by 9 o'clock these days, so.
Yeah. God, fuck, I am old.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning into the Joystick Frequency. Be sure to tune in next time, where we will be talking. It'll be our Game of the Year award. Well, we don't really have trophies to give out, but it's the Game of the Year awards anyway. And that won't be until the latter half of January, as we have people going out in town for the holidays. And then I believe 2 of us are going to Smite Worlds this year, so that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So we probably won't be recording that one until the weekend of January 20th, if that. So we have a little bit of time to get in a couple more games if we need to see if anything really raises that bar and sneaks into the top 10. But anyway, thank y'all once again for tuning in. Y'all have a fantastic time. Day, evening, wherever you are, and we'll catch you on the next wavelength. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.